欢迎收看今天的汉天新闻，我是赵子彤。首先来看国际方面的消息。当地时间7月21日，巴基斯坦总理伊姆兰汗开始了为期3天的访美之旅，并将于今天前往白宫与川普总统进行会面。这是巴基斯坦总理首度访问美国，外界普遍认为双方将借助这次机会重新建立互信，修补两国关系，就反恐、国防、能源、贸易等问题进行磋商。
On Monday at the White House, President Trump is expected to press Pakistan's prime minister on a number of issues. President Trump is expected to push Imran Khan on the subject of militants in his country and their impact on Afghanistan. The president expected to ask Khan for support for the Afghan peace process. A senior administration official also tells CNN that Trump is going to bring up the imprisonment of a Pakistani doctor, Dr. Shakil Afridi, who helped the United States capture Osama bin Laden back in 2011. The president expected to ask him about the treatment of Dr. Afridi. The subject of Chinese investments in Pakistan will also come up. Telecommunications company Huawei, also a line of discussion between these two leaders. On the bright side, administration officials say they are pleased with the initial steps that Khan has taken to crack down on corruption in Pakistan. And these two leaders have a bit to bond over, both of them leading an unorthodox path to power, with President Trump being a former reality TV star, Khan being a former cricket player. But there's still a large gap between these two nations, between these two leaders, as you said, with lies and deceit, accusations from the United States, and the administration deciding to suspend security assistance back in January of last year, something the administration acknowledges it may consider changing depending on Pakistan's next steps. Boris Sanchez, CNN at the White House.
There is tremendous potential between our country and Pakistan. I think Pakistan's going to help us out to extricate ourselves. We're like policemen. We're not fighting a war. If we wanted to fight a war in Afghanistan and win it, I could win that war in a week. I just don't want to kill 10 million people. Does that make sense to you? I don't want to kill 10 million people. I have plans on Afghanistan that if I wanted to win that war, Afghanistan would be wiped off the face of the earth. It would be gone. It would be over in literally in 10 days. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to go that route. So we're working with Pakistan and others to extricate ourselves. Nor do we want to be policemen, because basically we're policemen right now. And we're not supposed to be policemen.
波斯湾紧张局势进一步升级。周五，伊朗公开扣押了一艘悬挂着英国国旗的油轮。英国方面已经致信联合国安理会，指责伊朗非法干预。西方各国都表达了对英国的支持，呼吁双方以和平的外交方式解决问题。
Well, it's just a few miles away from here in these waters that the British-flagged oil tanker, the Stena Impero, was seized by Iranian military forces back on Friday. Dramatic images have emerged on Iranian state television of that incident actually taking place. You can see Iranian fast patrol boats surrounding the British-flagged vessel before a helicopter can be seen hovering above the deck. Then the cameras go inside the helicopter. You can see masked special forces descending on fast ropes onto the deck to take control of the oil tanker. That's also been accompanied now by the emergence of radio communications between the Iranian Navy and the Stena Impero, instructing it to change course. If you will obey, the Iranian naval spokesperson says, you will be safe. You then hear the British warship HMS Montrose intervene. It's too distant, remember, to actually physically do anything about this, but it intervened on the radio channels and told the oil tanker that it did not have to comply because it was well within its rights and in international waters. It also sought clarification from the Navy patrol from Iran about what their intentions were, and the Navy patrol answered back saying it is our intention merely to inspect the vessel for security purposes. And that must have been just moments before those masked special forces descended from the helicopters onto the deck of the Stena Impero to take control of it. Now, the next steps we're waiting for is from the British government. They say they're speaking with their allies to decide what steps they're going to take First of all, to make sure this doesn't happen again to other British ships. Secondly, to make sure this boat, this ship, this oil tanker is released from Iranian custody and the crew are brought back into safety and can go about their ordinary lives. Now, what those measures will be, we don't know yet. There's a possibility of sanctions. The British government has refused to rule that out so far. But, they're saying that they want this to be resolved diplomatically, not militarily. Yet, if you stick that in the context of the escalating tensions here in the Persian Gulf region, with the build-up of military forces by the United States in its ongoing confrontation with Iran, you can see how an incident like this could very well spiral into something much, much more dangerous. I'm Matthew Chance in the town of Khor Fakam on the Gulf of Oman.
日前，美国知名说唱歌手迈尔斯在瑞典引发一场激烈的街头斗殴，被当地警方逮捕并面临严惩。美国各界为其求情的声音不断出现，甚至美国总统川普都与瑞典首相进行了通话。然而，得到答案却是瑞典没有保释制度，该国将继续依法对迈尔斯进行惩罚。
Free ASAP Rocky, ASAP. The sign just outside the Stockholm Remand prison, the only indication of the controversy over the American rapper currently being held inside. On Friday, the American president weighed in.
I personally don't know ASAP Rocky, but I can tell you that he has tremendous support from the African American community.
ASAP's more than 10 million followers haven't heard from the man himself in nearly 3 weeks, ever since he was jailed in Sweden on suspicion of assault in connection with a brawl on June 30th. These are the images at the heart of an investigation into the brawl of June 30th in Stockholm between a Swedish man and ASAP Rocky and his entourage. Other videos posted by the rapper on his Instagram paint a different picture, one of harassment.
Look, just for the cameras, we don't want no problems with these boys. They keep following us.
But the investigation into the Swedish man has now been dropped, and the only party still being investigated is ASAP's. The rapper and 2 members of his entourage remain in custody here, where they've been kept since July 3rd. They haven't been charged, but were deemed flight risks by the Swedish judiciary. The prosecutor has until Thursday to decide whether they should be charged, released, or held a little longer if the investigation is not completed. ASAP's lawyer told journalists that his client was innocent and had acted in self-defense. ASAP Rocky's lawyer and his media representatives have not responded to CNN for comment. Last week, the American president weighed in. On Saturday, Donald Trump tweeted that he'd been in touch with the Swedish Prime Minister, saying that ASAP was not a flight risk and offering to personally vouch for his bail. But that is not how things work in Sweden.
If you know the Swedish legal system, you know that there's no bail system. But then he also said something like the Swedish Prime Minister will get involved in the case. Actually, the Swedish constitution forbids any minister, even the Prime Minister, to get involved or even state anything about it in an individual case.
Indeed, the Swedish Prime Minister said that he neither could nor would try to influence the judicial process, which means that ASAP Rocky will remain in custody here until and if the prosecutor decides otherwise. Melissa Bell, CNN, Stockholm.
再来看美国国内消息，美国自治邦波多黎各的总督罗塞洛，当地时间21日就其之前发表的侮辱女性及同性恋言论发表回应。他公开道歉，并宣布2020年不会寻求连任，但拒绝下台。因为他的言论，波多黎各大量民众已经走上街头，发起抗议示威活动。
Ante este escenario,
I'm announcing that I will not run for re-election as governor next year.
Not stepping down. Puerto Rico's Governor Ricardo Rosselló announcing he's not running for re-election, but not bowing down to pressure as demonstrations intensify for his immediate resignation.
That's not what we want.
What do you want?
We want him gone. That's it.
The protests on the U.S. territory are now entering their second week. This weekend, Democratic Representative Tulsi Gabbard joined the crowds.
Because what they're doing here and calling out a corrupt government that's more interested in serving the rich and powerful rather than serving the people.
She joins a chorus of calls from other presidential contenders demanding Rosselló resign. The mass protests erupted after nearly 900 pages of private chats between the governor and his inner circle were leaked. The profanity-laced, misogynistic, and homophobic messages targeted fellow politicians, members of the media, and celebrities.
And what this demonstrates is a lack of moral character on the part of the governor, and that he has lost the ability to lead.
But demonstrators are also rallying against alleged government corruption. All this while the island deals with high poverty rates, crushing debt, and the ongoing recovery from Hurricane Maria.
This government has been left to run wild with our economy, with the money.
I'm David Daniel reporting.
周六，密西西比州警方在湖中发现了21岁密西西比大学女生艾莉·克斯多的尸体。警方认为这是一起明显的谋杀，目前这一案件已经展开调查。
Buford Ridge has a beautiful view of Sardis Lake in northern Mississippi. Locals say the ridge is a place where a club meets several times a year to fish and is very peaceful. But on Saturday, it was a crime scene.
A quiet place, a very quaint place over there at Buford Ridge. Just can't believe this is so close to home.
Neighbors who live down the shore say they knew something was wrong Saturday morning when they saw first responders in their small, remote neighborhood.
I was sitting on the couch and saw the ambulance go by and was curious and went outside, and then the next thing I know, the coroner came by and 2 unmarked cars.
The Lafayette County Sheriff's Department says deputies on routine patrol found the body of 21-year-old Allie Costal. Costal is originally from St. Louis. The University of Mississippi confirmed that Costal is an enrolled student majoring in marketing. Investigators say it's apparent foul play was involved, but they did not release how she died.
I just can't imagine what the parents are going through right now and their family. It's just very devastating.
You shouldn't have to bury your kids.
Jim Bob Bromley understands the pain the Costal family is going through. He told us he's lost a son.
Nobody can describe that kind of pain. It's forever. It doesn't go away. It gets better, but it didn't go away.
Investigators say they're following several leads, trying to determine who killed the smiling Old Miss student and how her body ended up on this quiet ridge by Sardis Lake.
I hope they find out who did this and justice is served. Absolutely.
亚利桑那州弗拉格斯塔夫附近的山火还在不断蔓延，截至周日，波及范围已经超过了400英亩。当地许多居民不得不遭到遣散，但他们对当地政府和消防部门的应急反应表示了肯定。
For hours, Daisy Matchie was glued to this site.
When I first saw it, I was surprised.
The museum fire burned hundreds of acres Sunday. From Flagstaff, you could see the plume of smoke travel through the sky.
I've always been nervous about fire. I know it can be really dangerous.
The Matchie family says they were nervous as their neighborhood went into the pre-evacuation stage.
When my mom's phone went off when I was watching something, I just ran and asked, Mama, what are they doing?
As this fire burned, the Red Cross opened a shelter for people at a Flagstaff middle school.
I wanted to make sure I was safe. I didn't like it. I was almost ready to go to my Nana and Papa's who live in Phoenix.
The Coconino Forest Service says it will be days until it knows the cause of these flames.
Like a big flash of orange smoke, orange fire coming up over the ridge. I was really surprised and scared at the same time.
Aircraft spent the afternoon dropping this red slurry.
Because they're putting on a pretty good show with all the planes and helicopters and slurry bombing. I mean, they're brave and awesome. And
there's like a water tank right over there, and it was really cool watching the big yellow plane fill up.
For a child who has never seen a wildfire, it's a day she'll never forget.
I took maybe 100 pictures of it.
休息一下，马上回来。